and start the broadcast to our live stream service on ASKSBDC.com. And that seems to be going now. So Sunita, when you're ready, go for it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate all of your help, all these 73 sessions. And also Bree is here also helping us today. Steve Roth is also here today, and we have 4 attorneys that will be joining us along with SBA Carrie Ellenwood. So let's kick it off and let's go forward. Thank you again. Happy New Year. Great to see everyone here today. Introductions. I just kind of did that, but we'll go over it again. So this is presented to you by the Finance Center, SBDC NorCal Finance Center. We are supported by SBA and the state of California. This is how we're able to provide you no fee advising for small businesses. When I see no fee, there is no cost to when we call you, when we talk to you, when we Zoom you, during these webinars, this is no cost to you. We have so much information to provide you. I might be talking a little bit fast today, but there's so much to get out to you that I want to make sure you get it all. I am the director of the Finance Center, and we have Steve Roth, the regional lending specialist. He has also joined our team a few months ago. Steve has been with the SBDC for quite a long time and has a great wealth of knowledge. He is going to be in the Q&A section, answering as many questions as he can. And at the end, we'll also answer some questions live as well. So again, if you have questions for any of our attorneys regarding COVID related situations, please put it in the Q&A and they will also be answering it from there. So thank you again for joining us. Our agenda, we always go through the disclaimer. Today, you'll see there's a lot of stuff to go over, but I'm going to briefly hit on each of those. Some of the things we don't have the answers yet, but we'll briefly go over what we do have. The California Relief Grant, that's huge right now. It did open up while we were on hiatus, I guess. So the last time that we were here a few weeks ago, the grant hadn't gone live yet. We're going to talk about the California Rebuilding Fund. That is still live as well. COVID and Fire EIDL. We'll talk about that, PPP, SBA updates, upcoming webinars, and Case is going to open up and go over any new information they have. And Q&A, we're going to be doing that all along. We're going to be answering things in Q&A, and at the end, if anything's left, then we can go ahead and finish that up. Disclaimer, this information was correct when created. It was just finished just a couple of minutes ago. I've been waiting on seeing if there's any updated information before I finish this up today. So if there are any mistakes in here, I apologize. I will correct them or I will verbally correct it and move forward. And this is for information purposes only. If you do have a more complicated situation and you need one-on-one advising, please give us a call at 833-ASK-SBDC. Or better yet, you can email us at loans@asksbdc.com. Right now, we are very busy with calls and things like that. So please be patient and we will try and get to you as soon as possible. We're going to jump right into the California Relief Grant. I know that's probably what a lot of people want to know about. That's what they're here today. We also have, just as an FYI, and I believe Alan can put it into the chat, we have every day at 11 o'clock information in regards to this grant. So I'm going to briefly go over it. I'm not going to go over every single thing in the grant because we do have the 11 o'clock, which you can go into if you want to jump out of here at 11 and jump in there. That's perfectly fine. My feelings will not be hurt, maybe a little bit, but just let me know if you guys have any questions. We can answer them here too. Application is open. You can use our link, sbdc.mylendistry.com/grant. And I believe Alan will also put that in the chat so that way you can click onto it and get straight there. Application closes January 13th. It has been extended. It was supposed to close this week, but as any of you do know that you did apply, there have been some technical difficulties online. And I would kind of look at it as if, you know, brand new restaurant opens up, or you go to Disneyland and the gates open up and everybody rushes to the front. That's kind of what's happening. So everybody's applying at the very same time. So we're trying to get through this very small gate and it's just not happening. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. It's probably not how it really is technically, but that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So it's been extended to January 13th. Today and moving forward, Lendistry is going to be emailing, calling, contacting people that have already applied and are in the system, that they're ready for you to upload your documents. The document upload was stopped last week. Now they're in the process of emailing you, letting you know that you can upload your documents now, if you're able to move forward with the program, with the grant. So if my tip is, once you get that email, hold off a little bit, because you've got other people getting this email and that may also slow up the system. So maybe after 6 today, then upload it, or tomorrow in the morning while you're drinking your coffee, upload your documents, 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. Those are the slower times, and you seem to have a better way to access the system. They're also going to provide you emails with updated passwords and such. So just look out for those emails. Please look in your junk emails, because they are emailing and they will be calling you. If you happen to start your application and you couldn't finish it, you will be able to finish it now. That information did not get deleted. Anytime you went into the system, it is there. So you don't have to do multiple applications. They ask that you only do one application. Start of approval notification starts in January 15th. So if you were going to be approved for this grant, that's when you're going to start getting emails and communication from Lendistry. Not from us, but from Lendistry. The other thing I want to let you know is, if you have not applied yet, it's not a first come, first serve. You can apply today. So get into the system, apply today, maybe apply during off-peak times, before 8 o'clock and maybe after 5 or 6 o'clock, for a better chance to not have issues with technical issues. Here's some grant amount information. So if your annual revenue is between $1,000 and $100,000, it would be a $5,000 grant. So this just goes over what annual revenue you had. This is how much money you could potentially get right here. Technical assistance. That is if the system is down, you're receiving weird email or weird information from them, you're not sure what's going on. Lendistry would be the best person to contact in regards to that. We at the SBDC, we can answer questions. What's an EIN number? What's a social security number? If I'm a sole prop, I don't have an EIN number, so what would I use? You would use your social security number. So we can answer questions like that for you. If there's technical difficulties that you're unable to get into the system, we can't quite help with that. Lendistry can. So this is the information that you're going to need to be able to contact them. So Lendistry, their call center is 888-612-4370, and you can email them at careliefgrant@lendistry.com. They did say that they're able to pick up a lot of calls, but some of the calls do go to voicemail, and they call you within 20 minutes of that time. So I know that I can't give you the exact number that they're going to be calling from, but look out for something within that next hour. Pick up your phone. I know it happens to me where, we get so many solicitors calling our cell phones and we don't answer our phones. Try to see if you can answer your phone within that hour, because they are reaching out to you. We're going to go to the California Rebuilding Fund. That is still active and ready to accept applications as well. That's kind of fallen away from the wayside because the grant is so prevalent right now. We're trying to get that money out. It's a little bit, I know everyone wants the grant money. Sorry, there is the rollout 1. There's also a rollout 2 for the grant. I'm going to go backwards really quick because I want to tell you about that. This is round 1. So this is going to be 50% of that $250 million grant. The second round is going to come up. A second round doesn't come up for a couple of weeks. They have not given us the exact date. If you have applied already And if you don't get in the first round, or you don't get money in the first round, you're not disqualified for a reason, some reason, they will automatically put you into round 2. So just a FYI, you do not have to apply again. Sorry, I wanted to give you that information before we moved on. But now we'll go back to the fund. So the fund is still alive. You can still apply. There are caveats to it on if you are going to be qualified or not. This is part of the relief, process. There's also the temporary tax relief. Relief entails an automatic 3-month extension. I think some of the attorneys might be able to speak to that. So if you have questions in regards to that, they might be able to answer some of those questions. The CA Rebuilding Fund. So funds are being distributed through 12 participating CDFIs. You're going to go into one portal. You will put all your information in there. And then from there, they will match you up with the lenders that are participating in this fund. That lender will reach out to you and let you know what information they need from you for you to move forward. The loan amount is equal to the revenue of 3-month period, capped out at $100,000. The terms are for 5 years at 4.25%. The first year is interest-only payments. It's a full doc underwriting. You're going to need year-to-date financials, 2020 month profit and loss statement, 2019 tax return, articles of incorporation, credit write-up explaining the impacts of COVID on your business. This is somewhat similar to what the grant is requiring. The grant is not requiring the year-to-date financials, but the year-to-date information. They are requesting the tax return. So you have to have a 2019 or 2018 tax return. And you'll have to have articles of incorporation and those and such. And you have to have been impacted by COVID to be able to get approved through that. So that's it for the California Rebuild Fund. Now we're going to go to EIDL. EIDL has been extended. You can start to apply again. It did not close out as of the 31st of last year. It is now pushed out into 2021. So if you are still thinking about EIDL, you're not sure about EIDL, apply for EIDL. I know that a lot of people are also in reconsideration. They're gone back to, they want to get reconsidered for more money, or maybe they weren't able to get any money yet for one reason or another. They needed, SBA needed additional information. That is still ongoing as well. So I want you to know EIDL is still ongoing. You can still apply for EIDL at sba.gov. And we can put that information also in the chat for you. The EIDL advance, there will be one, but we're waiting for the guidance on that. We don't have the specifics. Yes, things were signed into law, but there are still things that need to be worked out, I believe, with SBA, Treasury, and they're presenting today on what they believe that they're able to do. Also for reconsideration, you have up to 6 months to get reconsidered. So please look at those dates and make sure. Unfortunately, I've worked with some people that they've gone beyond that. But we can still try. I say we still try and submit, and they'll let us know if it's not going to be able to move forward or not. So the EIDL, COVID, and fire parameters. Here are the parameters. The fire parameters are, sorry, COVID is still in effect also. And I believe, Carrie, did you say March 24th? They're still accepting applications. Is that correct from the webinar I was on this morning?
Carrie's on mute right now.
That's okay. Carrie can circle back when, but I believe it was March 24th. So here are the parameters for EIDL, EIDL COVID and EIDL fire. Rate is 3.25. If you're a nonprofit, it's 2.75, and the term is for 30 years. The first 11 months are deferred. Interest does accrue, so just know that. Collateral and personal guarantee is required for these loan amounts. Is it forgivable? No, it's not at this point in time. Allowed to spend, you can spend it on operating expenses. So operating expenses that you had prior to the pandemic. Not allowed to spend money on expansion, paying off full amounts of loans, tax liens and such. And honestly, all the money, all the COVID grants, money, loans that is out right now, these are all the caveats for that. You're not allowed to spend that money on expansion. You're not allowed to spend that money on new leases. Say you never had a lease before and you're going to start leasing a car now. That's not what the money is for. That money is for what you had existing previously. So idle fire, the rate is anywhere between 3 to 6%. And for nonprofits, it is still 2.75%. The term is up to 30 years. And the deferment period, which is still interest is accrued, is for 6 months. Collateral over, this is the collateral definition here, when you're going to need a personal guarantee or collateral. These are the loan amounts here, $25,000, and personal guarantee from anyone that owns 20% or more of the business. Forgivable, it is not forgivable. You can use it for working capital to cover all ordinary business and operating expenses. It is not to be used for expansion or refi of long-term loans. And there are other reasons, reasons that you can't spend the money on. And if you need more explicit information, please let us know and we will give you more info on that.
Sunita, can
Hi,
I just...
Sunita, this is Carrie.
Yes.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Thank you, Ellen. I just wanted to let you know it was May 24th for the idle fire loans for the economic injury disaster only, not the personal property loans. So the ones we're discussing in terms of idle and fire are open till May 24th of 2021.
Thank you very much. I couldn't remember if it was March or May. So thank you very much for that. So you can go on to the SBA website.
And I'd like to remind people, please put your questions in the Q&A rather than the chat. That way our panelists get to respond to them and answer them. If they're in the chat, we just have to kind of redirect you. So we've seen a lot of people doing that. Maybe it's been a while since we've had one of these. It's been a few weeks. So please put your questions into the Q&A. Chat, use it for technical support from Bree or me.
Thank you. So PPP2, it's been approved, but we're waiting on final guidance. I'm sorry if you're here today, you wanted a lot of information on that. I don't have it. Carrie's going to be able to tell you maybe some of the things that are on the table right now in regards to how many employees you can have, but we don't have the final guidance yet. I believe we're going to start having the Wednesday webinars more often again, instead of just twice a month or every other Wednesday. We're thinking that it's a possibility that these things might get finalized within the next couple of weeks. But Carrie, if you wanted to jump in now or later to talk about that, please let me know. Okay, we're going to move on. And Carrie will talk about this during the SBA recap. The PPP loan forgiveness timeline and rules. These still apply, even with the new PPP2. So I kept this in here. Some things may change, but as of right now, I believe it's still the same. Information is still valid. And I did take out the slides in regards to the application, the easy form and all of that, because that may all change. So I took those out. So for PPP loan forgiveness timelines and rules, a borrower 10 months from the end of the covered period, you should be applying for forgiveness. The covered period is going to be 24 weeks. Unless you receive the money before June 5th of 2020, then you have the choice of 8 weeks or 24 weeks. Lenders have 60 days from when you submit the loan forgiveness to them, the application, to get that together to send to SBA. SBA then has 90 days from receipt from the lender to then let them know what is going to be forgiven, how much is going to be forgiven, all is forgiven. So they have that time frame. So it does take a little bit of time. I know we have had a lot of clients get full forgiveness. So they did the right thing. They use majority of their money for payroll expenses. So they use 60% or more. And that's how they were able to receive the most forgiveness possible. I know there's caveats in regards to the idle advance. That's going to start to get worked out right now. There's a lot of questions on that. We have questions in regards to that. How is that going to work out for people that didn't get it before, and then were maybe possibly they owe money on it now? That's going to get worked out. It's not going to be a fast process, from what I think. So we'll just kind of have to wait on that. We're not going to have the answers this week or next week, but hopefully by the end of the month, we'll figure out what's going to happen with the advance portion of it. So rules for forgiveness: wages not to be reduced by 25%. We may have some more information in regards to that too. So let's just keep this here, but I'm not sure if that's going to be solid going forward with the forgiveness piece. I believe the 60% is still very valid. The others, I'm unsure, but I am going to leave it here because I don't know either way or not. What has been written so far, this is the forgiveness rules here.
And Sunita, can I just point out, I've just thrown back into chat the link to register for the 11 a.m. For the 11 o'clock webinar, which is on the California grant program. So it's in there. So if you need to leave us to go to that, that's how, go to the chat. You should see a link in there to Fullerton Zoom, and click on that to register and then go to that.
And that is being held every single day. So tomorrow it is also being held. So if you're not able to catch that today, you can catch it tomorrow. There's also on that website, the CaliforniaReliefGrant.com website, there are past webinars there, so you can watch it when you have time. So don't worry if you've missed it. It is okay. There's still that information there. So let's go on to PPP loan eligible costs and auditing. Here are the eligible costs that we went through before. If you have PPP, make sure you keep all of your documents. With the grant, make sure you keep all of your documents. With the loan fund from California, make sure you keep all of your documents. Right now, they're saying 3 to 5 years, but now I've even heard 7 years. So just keep those documents in a very safe place. So that way, if you're ever questioned on how this money was spent, you have the documentation ready to provide to anybody when requested. What documents to keep? Anything that's related to payroll and those costs, employee benefits, utilities, rent, mortgage and interest, or the interest on the mortgage. So that way you have that all ready for you. Anything you spent that money on, make sure that you've had a good accounting of it and have it separated. So that way you always have access to it. And please keep it handy, because I'd hate for anyone to have to go through to try and find everything or recreate it. I would keep it in multiple places, you know, on a desktop, printed, just so you have access to it. And then applications for the required documents are at www.sba.gov/funding. It's a quite long, Alan will put that in chat for you, but right now I would kind of hold off on it until everything's figured out about what's going to happen with the PPP forgiveness and the 150 and under and anything else that would be pretty amazing that comes out of this in the next couple of weeks. So today, Carrie Ellenwood is here. She is the Deputy District Director of our Sacramento office of SBA. I will hand this off to her, and we also have the SBA disaster contact information below, 800-659-2955 if you need to ask them a question directly in regards to the disaster EIDL loan, and disaster customer service at sba.gov. If you need reconsideration, please go to pdcrecons@sba.gov, and I will hand it over to Carrie. Thank you so much, Carrie, for being here.
Thank you, Sunita. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I lost my internet connection, so my apologies. I missed quite a bit about what you said, so if I don't respond to those questions, please let me know what they were during that piece of it. So as Sunita said, we are working on creating the program details from what Congress asked SBA to do through the new funding for the Paycheck protection. The EIDL is continuing. we had some delivery dates, which we have not yet met, for providing those details on the changes to the Paycheck Protection Program. So please, as Sunita said, do be patient with us. The forms and the instructions and detailed directions will be out to our lending partners in the next few weeks, and then they'll be able to jump right back in with helping you get your business going with those funds. The caveat that still is required to access the second round that is in the legislation is that small businesses must have been in business by February 15th of 2020. So that is the same as the last time, I do know that. And other than that, I don't have a lot of details for you. I apologize. We're working as quickly as we can to ensure that we get these services and products out to the small business community. The other thing I would like to mention is we do have a new platform being launched on Thursday for women small business owners that has some very good information. It's called Ascent, A-S-C-E-N-T. It's an online program for women-owned businesses to grow and develop their small business. So that is coming on board. If you go to our website, you will see some information on that there in the news section. That's all I have for today, Sunita. Hopefully I'll be able to share more next week.
Thank you so much, Carrie. We really appreciate it. Again, we want to let everybody know that we have our attorneys here today as well. We have a few attorneys here today. We'll go into that, but go ahead and ask those questions in the Q&A and just let us know that those are attorney questions. We will try to answer them at the end or during this session here. The other thing is we've answered 33 questions, or Steve and the team has answered already 33 questions. So thank you very much. That is quite a lot. And I'm sure we've got some great questions in here. People wanting to know if they can apply for EIDL again. If you've already received $150,000, unfortunately at this point in time, there's not more to get from that. If you didn't receive an advance, that is a possibility to get an advance, but we don't have all that information right now or how they're going to facilitate that. So, but we will get it to you as soon as we get it. Our upcoming webinars, let me tell you a little bit about that. We've got a full month of webinars, not only us, but also our centers. At the Finance Center, though, we are going to, Steve Roth, who is here, he is answering a lot of the questions here. So thank you, Steve. On Thursday, January 14th, owning and investing in real estate for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Wednesday of the following week, we will be back again with Case and Attorney Coalition, answering any of the disaster COVID loan questions and, excuse me, providing any updates. Steve is also going to be presenting on January 21st, Expansion Capital for existing businesses 2 years or older. Please, if you are a young business, a startup business, we have something for you on the 28th. So please don't think that this is, we didn't have anything for you. Steve also has another series for you on the 28th, or a webinar. The following Wednesday on the 27th, we will most likely have another update. Right now, I'm going to put to be determined, but I have a feeling we're going to have that. So just keep that in your calendar, because I think we're going to start having a lot of updates about PPP and EIDL, and I want to get that information to you as soon as we get it. And now I'm going to hand it over to Alan so that way he can tell you what's coming up, and then we're going to go straight into Case and see if they have any updates for us today.
Thanks, Anita. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff ramping up into January and also February. So we're doing a rerun of our startup series. So if you're thinking of starting a new business, that starting your business is split over 2 afternoons on next Thursday and Friday. And then the week after that, how to create a business plan. That gives you a chance either as a new business to create a business plan, or if you're looking to pivot and recreate your change your business. The tool we teach is the lean planning canvas, very useful for creating a pivot. For our restaurant team, having a panel discussion on that Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock. for restaurant survival strategies. The restaurants, as we know, are taking a serious hit from the pandemic, and this is a webinar with some successful restaurateurs who are weathering these challenges and sharing their ideas with you. The following week on the Wednesday, we will have Chana Anderson, our HR regional specialist, talk about finding out what the new HR rules will look for. There are a number that come into effect in California for 2021, so she'll be handling those. 27th is the Financing Your Business, that third part of our startup series. And then beginning of February, we're running the first of our cybersecurity basics. We'll start running those on a fairly regular basis, teaching you how to protect both yourself and your business against cyber criminals. And that's just the stuff that the region is doing at a regional level. Our centers are going gangbusters right now into January and February. If you have a look on SBDC.events/network calendar, you can see literally there's about 150 events over the next month that are being put on by our various centers, local centers, on all sorts of topics. So I recommend you to have a look there. If there's anything you want to do, anything you want to learn about as a small business, it's in there. Also, there is our on-demand webinar library, which is available at learn.norcalsbdc.org. We've got about 20 of our most popular webinars, and we'll continue to add to that. So we continue to add to them as we add new webinars in. So I can assume that HR update is going to go in there. Probably the survival strategies is going to go in there. Cybersecurity is going to go in there. So available on demand to watch when you want, what you want, and as many times as you want. So that's our library. And expect more to happen for February as well. Back to you, Sunita.
Thank you so much. We're going to go into our attorney coalition right now. Case first disclaimer. These hours are intended for resources small businesses with fewer than 25 employees and nonprofits to learn information about various resources and legal issues relevant to COVID-19. They're not intended to offer legal advice, and the leaders of the office hours are not able to represent participants as attorneys. The session is intended to address issues related to the pandemic, and panelists aren't able to comment on general non-pandemic related issues. So I would like to go ahead and hand it off. These 4 attorneys were supposed to join today, but I'm sorry, it's hard for me to see who is here today, but I believe all of them were able to join us. I'm not sure if anyone has any updates today that they would like to provide to us. If so, please go ahead and jump in. It looks like we've answered all the questions in the Q&A, which is pretty awesome. Thank you everyone for doing that. If you have any good best practices or anything you'd like to present today, please do so. Okay. Brett, do you have anything that you would like to tell anybody in regards to Case Force and what's going on and what's going to be going forward with Case?
No big announcements. Hi, Sunita. Thank you. I'll be happy to pop into the chat window a link to our frequently updated COVID resource guide. That's a great piece of reference material that's organized by both county and city. Lots of good information there. So we'll make sure and get the link posted in the chat window. And it's not quite ready for prime time yet, but soon we'll be sharing a new version of that that's web-based and interactive. So hopefully a little more user-friendly than the current format. More on that in the coming weeks. But I think in the meantime, just hope our attendees have some more questions for us.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Brett. I appreciate you giving us that update. And here is the statewide small business resource guide. This resource guide is great. It's great information. It's great. And we want to thank Case, the coalition, for being with us on every other week, helping us answer questions that we normally aren't able to answer because we are not attorneys. And we thank them very much for their time. This is their time that they're giving to us to be able to do this. So we're very grateful to you for doing that for us. So I think we can go straight into, here's our information at the SBDC and also the Finance Center. You can reach us at these places, 833-ASK-SBDC. or ASKSBDC.com. Like I said, we are getting a lot of calls in regards to the grant, so it's backing us up just a little bit, but we will get to you. You can go to loans@ASKSBDC.com. Also, if you have, if you speak Spanish and you feel more comfortable asking the questions in Spanish, please email us at espanol@ASKSBDC.com, and we'll be happy to help you there as well. So let's see if there's any questions there. Yes, 4 questions. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and ask these out loud. So for expansion, how do you find a business attorney? I'm assuming they're wanting to expand their business. I'm not sure if anybody has this information.
Hi, this is Ben Fox from the San Francisco office of Morrison & Foerster. Yeah, so there's some great resources available through the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights in San Francisco. They offer legal advice clinics and are sometimes able to pair people depending on their needs with individual attorneys who would be happy to give advice about all manner of different business and commercial law matters.
Perfect. Ben, would you be able to put that information into our chat?
I think Sandra.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
And Sunita, one of the things that have come up, people may not realize that if they put a question into the Q&A, they can see that, and that question got answered offline. People can see that. If you go to the Q&A, you should have a list of open and also answered questions. Have a look for your answer questions, and you should be able to see the answer that was given to that. And you'll see any responses that Steve or any of the people providing answers gave. So they're in there. If you can't find it, have a look in the answered part of the Q&A.
Okay, perfect. And then one of the questions I thought it was pretty interesting, and it's a great question. I'm just going to roll back to it really quick. Is it says here, PPP, should we stick with our first round lender or apply to various lenders? I would, Steve said to stick with your original lender, and that's very true because they do have your information. Now, if it's a big bank, just know that the larger banks did have issues in the beginning. I'm not sure if they're going to have issues now about getting applications in. So, have a number 2. So who would you go to next if you're not able to go to that lender, or you're having issues with that lender? I know some online lenders had some issues as well. Technical issues. So that's kind of what I would think too. So just think about a number 2 who you would go to, but stick with your original lender, just like Steve said. I think that's great advice.
Would you say that's the same case even if you're very unhappy about what they did, the way they handled it first time?
Well, of course, if there was issues, like I said, even large banks, smaller banks, it's up to you. If you want to go back to them.
Yeah. And can we help people find local lenders?
Absolutely. We can help you find other lenders. There's lots of lenders in here. I believe, I think there was over 5,000 lenders that were working on PPP1. They're already getting geared up. I've been talking to some lenders. They're already getting geared up for PPP2. They're getting set up. A lot of the lenders know what they're doing now, how this works. So they're just getting the rules for PPP2, getting that all into their guidelines once it's been approved, so that way they can move forward. So I think we're going to have a better connection with the lenders going this time, because last time this is something very new that everyone was going through, and we're just learning. But this is round 2 now, so I think we're all old pros on doing this somewhat, right? Jennifer Huber says, FYI, Fremont Bank has been fabulous for PPP loans from the very beginning. So there you go. This is from somebody that's actually used one of the lenders. So there's some advice from them. Always, it is up to you who you'd like to choose. But if you did have issues with your previous lender, then you may want to think twice about that. Thank you, Jennifer.
And Sunita, this is Carrie, and I just would like to also let the small businesses know that there are a list on the SBA website, sba.gov, that has the participating paycheck protection lenders. We have not updated that from last time, but I believe most of them will want to participate again. So that's another area where you could find a lender as well.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. And I believe your lenders are going to start emailing you, letting you know that the PPP2 has come out and it's ready to go. Tanya, you're very welcome. Right now, we don't have any questions in the Q&A. Please put them in before we leave today. I thought we're actually going to go the full 90 minutes today because we were pretty backed up last time we were here. But I think that Steve and the team's just doing an awesome job of clearing out the questions. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Right now, we don't have any other updates for you. If you want to know more about the grant, like the 11 o'clock is a great time to learn more about the grant. If you need one-on-one service to help walk you through that, we can help you. Give us a call and we'll get you signed up. Thanks. I'll be back about PPP2 once you have the details. Thanks, Jennifer. Yes, we should have the details within the next couple of weeks. I don't know for sure. Hopefully soon. We'll update, we'll try and update also our communication in regards to what we send out to you if we do have the new PPP information. So that way you can have that when we do advertise this call. Let's see here. Tim, another lawyer question, please. If a lawyer cannot defer payment, payments for acquisitions, what does lawyer think about using templates from NOLO, etc., before bringing in a lawyer? And I don't know if that's going to be specific to you, Tim. I don't know if somebody wants to take that question offline and kind of go get that answer for Tim and email him back. Looks like Ronnie is answering that for you.
This is Ben again from MoFo. I would say it's hard to answer that question a little bit without knowing a little bit more of the specifics of what Tim's legal needs are. But
Okay.
just for a more general answer, I think templates from NOLO or other websites that might provide free legal documents are definitely helpful. But I would again encourage people to take those and potentially bring them to clinics where they can go over the documents with an attorney, potentially on a pro bono basis, either through lawyers committee, or I saw someone just posted the link for Start Small, Think Big. They also offer free legal services, and they would be able to review certain legal documents with you.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see. Christine is asking, my husband and I both applied for EIDL with our different business. We receive advances direct in the same bank account. But sorry, looks like somebody may have already answered that. So sorry, these go pretty quick. When something comes in, something jumps around. So sorry, I'm applying for more funding. Okay, Marta, thank you for letting us know. I don't know how to answer this question, so I'm just going to throw it out to the group. Can owner-employee wages be used to claim the ERTC? I'm not sure what ERTC is. Elaine, so you may have to, if nobody can answer that, you may have to let us know what that means. So Richard is saying, in attending 11 a.m. Cal Grant webinar last week, attention was given to freelancers, gig workers, etc., and I'm part-time web designer. What eligible expenses may I list, and could it include paying rent on my apartment, which my home office is in? So for the grant, Richard, they're going to use your Schedule C, and they're going to go off of that. So what expenses did you have on your Schedule C, and did you have it prior to the date that's specified there? I believe it's May of 2020 or March of 2020. So we'd have to look at your specific information and actually look at your Schedule C. They're going to ask for your complete tax return from 2019, and they will go off of that to see what expenses you can use that money for. Employee retention tax credit is the ERTC, Elaine is stating. Can our employee wages be used to claim the employee retention tax credit? I'm not sure if we have a tax person on here today. Elaine, but Bree, if you can get that question together for Elaine, and then maybe we can send it to Sandra and Brett and have that, if maybe somebody can answer that question for them, that would be great. Thank you. Christine, yes, but who do I call to find out who got what amount? I only received AP, sorry, I guess that's, Tammy, thank you. Melissa, regarding previous question on rental property, let's see here, whoever answered that question, I'll go ahead and let you answer that for Melissa. Lynn, has anyone on the call who got a PPP loan from Lendistry hear from them about forgiveness? I'm wondering if they are too busy with the new grant deal with the last PP round for forgiveness. Right now, Lynn, yes, they are handling the grant deal for us, but they've handled other grant deals for other states. California is definitely different than any other state that they've dealt with. And I think that's probably with anything that we do here in California. We're just, well, you know, we just have a lot of people here and a lot of small businesses. So they are still working on forgiveness. So they have a team, they have different teams working on different things. A lot of lenders were holding off on the forgiveness because they were waiting to see what Congress was going to pass, what the president was going to sign off in regards to forgiveness. So I think a lot of them are still holding off, but once the guidelines have been solidified, SBA has presented what they need to in regards to what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. I think after that is signed off, probably a week after that or just a few days, then the lenders are all going to start emailing you and contacting you in regards to forgiveness. So I would just hold on just a little bit more with that. I do also wanted to tell you in the grant, they will be sending you, from what I've heard, and you can we can double check on this, but you're going to receive a 1099 on that grant. So just, I want everybody to be aware also the money that you're receiving, how it may affect you at the end of the year for tax purposes. And you should talk to your tax accountant in regards to that. Tim is saying, with all these loans, etc., will lower cash to debt ratios be accepted, or will this critical ratio depend on lenders? It depends on the lender. It also depends on the program. It depends on so many things. How long have you been in business, Tim? Are you know, all these, there's so many different factors. And Steve, if you want to speak on that, I think you'd have some great information in regards to that as well. I don't know if Steve can hear me.
Sure, it's impossible to answer out of context.
Right. And that's the thing, Tim. It's, you know, your scenario is going to be different than my scenario, Steve's scenario, or David's scenario. We all have to provide the same documents to the lenders, 3 years of tax returns, you know, year-to-date financials. But my scenario, my tax, you know, just how long I've been in business, what type of business, all of that comes into play. So it's hard to answer those questions on a one-off type of situation. Things may get a little bit easier. We just don't know right now. It's just the beginning of 2021, and we're going to see what's going to happen moving forward. Lynn is asking, is PPP and California grant taxable? I missed what you said. Thanks for answering. PPP and the grant are two different things. Two different things. So the grant is a grant, but yes, I believe they're going to be sending you 1099 on that. So that I believe is taxable. So that's why I'm saying you should definitely talk to your tax people and get more information. Also, the website is going to give you the most up-to-date information, careliefgrant.com. It changes often. That's where we send everybody to. That's where we go to get this information on a daily basis of anything that's changing. PPP is different. PPP is not the same regulations as you know, taxability or anything as the grant. So it's two different things. If we pay off SBA EIDL early, can we use that as a line of credit? No, you can't. Once that's paid off, that is a term loan. It is gone. You know, if you decide that you want to pay it off early, then you definitely can. But no, it will not turn into a credit line. let's see here. EM is asking, where can we watch this recording afterwards? You can, we're going to send it out to you, but it's also on ASKSBDC.com.
Yeah, they go to our YouTube channel automatically, and that can be accessed from ASKSBDC.com. So it takes about 2-3 hours to process, but by that normally later on this afternoon it'll be up there.
Okay, thank you. Somebody's asking if they're receiving all of these, the grants and also the loans for COVID, the COVID disaster loans, if they can get unemployment insurance as well. You can, but you can't use the money for the same purposes at the same time. That is the best answer that I can give you. You cannot use all the funds for the same thing at the same time. So keep your accounting pretty clear on what you've used the funds for at what time. And the grant is saying, you know, to keep that information between 5 and 7 years. So I would just say across the board, just keep everything for 7 years for any of the loans that you get, any of the grants that you get, just in case. I also want to tell you that there are local grants in your areas. I believe YOLO Sutter has a grant right now for small businesses. Check with your local SBDCs. We are a regional finance center, so we may not know what's going on locally at your SBDC, or sorry, locally at your current community, but your local SBDC should know. So I would reach out to them as well to see what grants are out there for you. So right now, YOLO Sutter has a grant for small businesses. If you're in that area, please reach out to the local SBDC there and see if you can get more information, or you can just Google that information and you should be able to get it. And Bree, I'm not sure, do you think you can put that grant information in the chat for them? Thank you. Let me check the time, 11:26. TCB, do you have, okay, that one's gone. EM, we heard about the new grant that just opened. It asks how many employees we have, but it doesn't say if it means our regular number of employees pre-pandemic. So EM, are you talking about the California grant? You're just going to tell them how many employees you have currently. It's not asking pre-pandemic, and they're asking for employees as a metric for them. It's not for qualification purposes. So if I'm the only person that's working, I'm the only employee of my business, I would just put 1. I would say what is going on as of right now. So it's just a metric for the California grant. It's not anything like the PPP where it's reliant on that information. They just want to know as a metric how many employees you have. Question for Jennifer Huber. What branch at Fremont Bank? So Jennifer, you want to put that in the chat, or then that's fine. If you have a person at Fremont, that would be fine to do. EM said, thank you, EM, for being here. Is PPP and Cal Relief Grant taxable? Sorry, I already done that. I did that one, I apologize. Okay, looks like 75 questions have been answered already. Does anybody have any other questions? What are the rules changes for using retirement funds early? Tim, that's a tax question that you should get together with your with a tax person. Unfortunately, I don't have that expertise, and I don't know if anybody else on today's panel has that expertise. But if you get together with your tax accountant or your accounting person, they may be able to help you with that. I don't know if those rules have changed or not. I haven't seen anything change. So I would look into that a little further, maybe with the IRS. At this point in time, I don't believe anything's changed. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. It is almost 11:30, and we will see you here in 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll have so much more information for you. Not that today wasn't overloaded, about the PPP and EIDL advance and anything else. EIDL is open. Please apply if you haven't yet. We thank you so much for being here. We have our 11 o'clock grant questions. You know, if you have questions in regards to the grant, please go on to the 11 o'clock webinars. We thank you all for being here today, and thank you so much to the panelists for helping us today and our team. There's definitely no way we could do this without everybody's help. And thank you. We will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Happy New Year.
Thanks, everybody. And I'm going to shut off the webinar now. Bye-bye, folks. Keep well.
Bien too.